The Walt Disney World Resort has been very crowded over the last week or so. Spring break is here. Spring break season is bringing all kinds of fears to rest as to whether or not folks will return to Disney World after contentious policy changes that put conservatives very off to the House of Mouse. And yet, with all of the goodwill that seems to be coming for the Disney parks, as opposed to the rest of the Disney company, Bob Iger is sending all of that investment money overseas. Hello folks, welcome back to the Pro Channel. We are here to tell you that if you enjoy Disney World and Disneyland, despite what you may have heard about Blue Sky expansions and beyond Big Thunder Mountain, and maybe even you're excited about Disneyland Forward, it may be time to temper your expectations. And that is because it appears that Bob Iger has an addiction to Shanghai. He's got a fever, and the only prescription is more Hong Kong. That's right, Bob Iger, Josh D'Amaro, they are determined to continue sending money to China to bolster their theme parks there that make no money, despite the fact Disney World is a huge component of all the revenue that the Walt Disney Company receives. It seems it is subsidizing the international parks where success is always just a day away. Let's bring on the panel now. Let's talk to you about why this is. And folks, if you doubt us, well, Disney said it themselves.
Yeah.
All right, Jonas, pull up the white paper and let's all say poor Disney. You've got that white paper ready to go.
Oh, yes, I do. Here we go.
Let's set the stage for everybody so they understand what's happened. First of all,
100 years ago.
No. That's right. Trian Group, Nelson Peltz, and Jay Rasulo, they put out the white papers, which was a 133-page, data-dense document that was truly damning to the legacy of Bob Iger and the mismanagement of the company. They brought forth data that we had never seen before, stuff that even as we cover them day in and day out, blew our minds. And it caught Disney off guard such that even Bob Iger avoided it. A week later, the Walt Disney Company has brought out their own version of their white paper. And to say that we're confused by what in the world Disney is thinking is an understatement, because there are errors in this from Disney that I don't understand what they were thinking. Because I'll give one example, and Jonas, you take this away. When Disney came out and said that they were going to turbocharge their parks, we looked at the numbers and we said, no, this is ridiculous. This is a downgrade. You're just spinning headlines out of something that's actually far worse for the future. Disney came out with this white paper and they affirmed what we've been saying. And so you've got all these, always pro Disney blogs, vlogs, etc. out there. They don't know what to do anymore because Disney just came out and said, yeah, that WDW Pro guy, he's right. And here, we'll go farther. We're going to do even worse than that with how much we're going to invest in the parks. And so that's, Jonas, as we talk about this white paper, let it be said that on Disney's official documents now, they are stamping it front and center with anxiety. Yes, that is anxiety to the right of their shareholder value creation plan, Disney rife with pure anxiety. All right, take it away.
Can I just, before we get there, and I love that anxiety is front and center. You notice how they're not using a term that they've loved using before. Instead of they used to use a different term. Instead of shareholder, they used the term stakeholder. Oh, and it's interesting that they've gone back to shareholder.
That's a very good point, because stakeholders, well, that would be that would be what BlackRock terms all of the people that
by next year I plan for them to just call them dreamers.
Well, if the company is going to go sideways, which it certainly could, you'll be dreaming you had more money.
Dreamers of all ages.
So, Pro, do you want to go straight to the sauce here with the $60 billion in investment broken down here? Broken down being the operative term.
Sauce it up. Here we go.
Strong ROC guides, and innovation enable our investment plans. First of all, let's talk about what they're intending on spending this on. A Frozen-themed land at Hong Kong Disneyland. That's not.
Oh, boy.
Zootopia themed land with an all-new attraction and unique entertainment, food, beverage, and merchandise at Shanghai Disney Resort. That's also not in the U.S. Expansion of Tokyo Disney Sea. That is a park they don't even own, with 3 new themed areas recreating worlds of Frozen, Rapunzel, and Peter Pan. One of those is a timeless classic, and the other 2 are relatively recent IPs. Finally, something for the U.S. parks, Tiana's Bayou Adventure.
A splash rehash.
Yes, exactly. A ride that will be the exact same ride system with no changes.
Except less animatronics and more fog. Lots
and also
more fog.
3 cruise ships that are coming in financial year 25 and 26 that people can pay a pretty penny in order to go to those. And it costs a lot more to go on a cruise than it does on a Disney vacation where you actually go into the great theme parks. But that's probably not what we're focusing on here today. What we're focusing on is the $60 billion. By the way, this has now become an approximate $60 billion of capital allocation. It's broken down 50% parks, 30% tech and maintenance, and 20% cruises and other.
All right. So we did a video this morning, folks. If you've not yet seen it, you definitely need to check it out, where we break this down in high resolution. This shows that the actual investment into the domestic parks is so far diminished compared to prior decades that it's just incredible. And all I can come up with is they don't care. They're going to milk the domestic parks, and they think you'll go and you'll like it, and you're not going to go see Epic Universe, and you're not going to go to national parks because Disney is your only option. That's the only thing you can come up with when you look at the fact that they called this turbocharged. And in fact, it is a massive drop in investment. I mean, there's no other way to spin this. You're talking about maybe a new attraction per domestic parks every 3 or 4 years, maybe.
I think it's worse than even I thought specifically when it comes to the Disneyland resort. I think that's going to be where the California residents are going to be even more disappointed. At the current rate of spending is only $2 billion over 2 decades. I would be terrified that you're going to have lots of broken down things in the Disneyland resort in that 2 decades that they were talking about with this Disneyland Forward garbage that got the green light last night. So.
Yes, somebody came after me yesterday because I pointed out that it cost $23.5 billion, dollars to just run the theme parks,
right?
On an annualized basis, and said, "Wait till this guy finds out how much money they make on those parks." And $9 billion. What do you think?
We don't cover that sort of thing.
You think I'm new here? Yes, it's $9 billion, which is that's not a lot of money to make considering how much they spend on all of these parks. They could be making a lot more margin if they weren't shipping everything over to China and Hong Kong. I don't think they paid anything for this Fantasy Springs expansion because Walt Disney Imagineering did work on Fantasy Springs, but they were a client. The Disney Sea is a client of Walt Disney Imagineering.
Because, it's most people don't realize that really those parks in Japan are licensees because that's Oriental Land Company, OLC. And the amazing things that you see there, you won't see in the United States because, well, in the United States, they don't hold people to the level that they used to for Walt Disney Imagineering, WDI. So it's disappointing. Anyway, sorry, we diverted.
No. So what I was going to say is I want to give a brief explanation for people out there who may not understand why we're so negative about the Chinese parks. And there are a number of reasons, but one of the biggest reasons in terms of the financials of the company is that Disney doesn't own the majority of their Chinese parks. Disney is a minority stakeholder, which is necessitated because they are an American company operating in China. China doesn't allow American companies to have majority stakes in anything in the Middle Kingdom. And so Disney is minority holding of Shanghai and Hong Kong. And then the taxes being such that they are in China, Disney comes away with about 15 to 20% at best of all of the profits that are made over there. And there aren't profits really. I mean, those resorts are largely controlled by the government because of the health issues, quote unquote, over in China. The number of people who can go to those parks is limited. So when we look at the investments being made in China, we kind of scratch our heads because somebody somewhere understands how that's going to make money or put dollars into Bob's yacht, but we don't know what it is. So I'm not saying that there's no way that's going to be successful, although it's dangerous. I'm just saying that there's not a public path towards huge success in the Chinese parks. Whereas when you look at Disney World, for example, it is a huge, massive percentage of Disney's total revenue every single year. So you would think that you would want to stop subsidizing the success of your domestic parks and sending all that money over to China. You would think you would want to stop doing that.
Right.
And
for those of you who have a question, I just want to make sure. Yeah, my screen is actually showing it. The domestic parks, $22.6 billion that they made in revenue in the domestic parks. Internationally, $5.5 billion. So 1/4, as it were. And then consumer products with
on the okay, so Jonas, let's break that down even further. On the international parks, right? Let's think about it this way. They own Disneyland Paris. Okay? So
technically,
European resort, they own it. Then you've got the money that they bring in for the licensing for the Oriental Land Company. And that's a great deal for Disney. And especially because the OLC takes care of the parks better than any other Disney park on the planet.
Yes.
The amount of that international park revenue that is the Chinese parks is infinitesimally small. And on top of that, I don't see the benefit in the future unless Disney thinks that China is suddenly going to say, here, we're going to cut down the taxes. We're going to give you, huge proportions of the money that comes in, and we're going to open the floodgates on the turnstiles and stop regulating who gets to come in here. I don't think that's going to happen. But Bob Iger, it's Bob Iger's baby, so flood it with cash. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have come to yet another conclusion of a video of pure, unfiltered excellence. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms, it's the notification bell, and drop a comment down below because you are a valued member of this community now. And as a valued member, we would love to hear your input, your thoughts. Don't waste that mind, for a mind is a terrible thing to waste. Folks, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.